Hello, welcome to my channel. I haven't been with you for a while, but I am. Let's see if this has switched itself off. Thought I'd return with another little story based on 5 random words. The random words being, and I hope you'll forgive any background building work. There's quite a noisy building site a few doors down, and they keep putting on some kind of catastrophic machine that vibrates. So if I start vibrating, it's not an earthquake. Anyway, this piece is called Swipe Right. I've done terrible things. Spent 27 years in a failed marriage. Lied to my wife and kids, both about what I do and who I am. I've broken the law, earning millions from the world's most unscrupulous people, then laundering vast profits and paying as little tax as possible. By any reasonable assessment, I am not a good person. I'm a decent enough ex-husband and father, a middling artist, and an excellent forger. At 58, I was caught forging a Matisse for a collector who'd had his original stolen, but had agreed a lucrative sale to another buyer. He needed the deal to go through, so rather than report the robbery, he engaged me. The post-impressionists were one of my specialities. The painting had not been exhibited for many years and had never been professionally photographed. The resultant piece was not just a triumph, it was a conquest, or so my client enthused. Unfortunately, the job turned out to be a complex sting operation, and I was imprisoned for 11 years. I'm now almost 70, but my arm and eye remain steady. Prison was an ordeal, but if anything, it sharpened my skills. I did little more than sketch and paint during my decade of incarceration. Meeting me at Wormwood Scrubs on the day of my release, my husband Larry took me for a celebratory meal and dropped a bombshell. One last job, but one that would offer redemption. Larry ran a small modern gallery in Belgravia. He had been organising a landmark exhibition of the new photorealists, a group of painters who produced massive canvases focusing on minute and often mundane details of modern life. A pile of unread books on a bedside table, a row of battered wheelie bins, a shaft of light illuminating a ripped linoleum floor. These half-dozen artists have become a sensation, rejecting most of the lauded aims of both conceptual art and modern academic painting. Coming out of the COVID-19 crisis and having been shut for 6 months, Larry's gallery desperately needed this exhibition to be a smash hit. The centrepiece was a vast triptych by Cornelius Blumenthal, entitled Swipe Right, and 9 feet square. It comprised 3 vertical strips in the form of an iPhone screen showing dating profiles from Tinder, complete with surface scratches, finger smudges and reflections. Sadly, the artist committed suicide shortly after completing his masterwork. Larry's exhibition would be in part a memorial. Unfortunately, manhandling this masterpiece around the scaffolding and painter's detritus of a still incomplete refurbishment proved Larry's undoing. His team of cut-price art movers were hampered by the narrow staircase, and the painting tilted backwards, slipped from its harness and crashed down the steps. It knocked over a jug of white spirit, which spilled across its thinly applied acrylic, quickly erasing the majesty of Blumenthal's brushwork. Utter, impossible calamity. Panicking, Larry paid the removal men for their silence. The conditions of the gallery and the slipshod nature of the installation would invalidate any insurance claim. Blumenthal's estate would definitely sue. Larry's reputation and that of his gallery would be shattered. Inevitably then, I began my toughest assignment yet, recreating over 80 square feet of almost autistically precise brushstrokes. I worked for 16 hours a day for almost a month. I calculated that I painted over 3 million individual strokes. Blumenthal's vision was pixel sharp and machine precise. I soldiered on through tension headaches, aching joints and sleepless nights of anxiety. If caught again, they'd throw the book at me. I'd die in prison. Larry could not afford to pay for what became a genuine labour of love. 3 days before the exhibition, I superglued an eyelash to a matchstick and added 50,000 almost invisible details to the immense pouting and beaming visages of Susie Q, Ramjeet and Claudia, the artist's models. Meanwhile, Larry fielded crisis calls from agents, lending galleries, artists, patrons and art critics, all clamouring to know why the opening had been put back. He fended them off with ineffable charm. When Larry visited to view the finished piece, I watched his eyes fill with tears of amazement and gratitude. "It's your masterpiece," he gasped. "Blumenthal's masterpiece," I countered. "Now, help me wrap it up." On the morning of the grand opening, Larry approached me with eyes downcast. "I invited your ex. I had to." "You what?" I asked, disbelieving, as I polished a pair of brogues. "Kirsty's the leading expert on the new photorealists. If it fools her, it'll fool anyone." I couldn't fault his reasoning, although it seemed hugely risky. Still, I love the old fool, so I swallowed my pride, donned my best blazer, and marched arm in arm with Larry into a room rapidly filling with the great and good of the London art scene. I immediately spotted Kirsty, glamorously attired and accompanied by a man 2 decades her junior. I downed a glass of fizz and left Larry to his schmoozing, deciding that I should get the inevitable encounter over with. She spotted me 10 yards out. "Bradley, nice to see you looking so dapper. So, which of these is yours?" Fortunately, I'm attuned to her sense of humour. We walked away from the hors d'oeuvres and towards the room containing the Blumenthals. "Very funny. Larry's done an amazing job, eh?" Kirsty's razor-sharp eyebrows twitched. I waited a bon mot. None was forthcoming. "I love them. Just love them. And this is bordering on holy." Entranced, Kirsty stepped in front of the room's centrepiece. Swipe right. It did look wonderful, filling the wall, the gleaming faux vitality of the 3 young poseurs, drawing the eyes with hypnotic intensity. "He is a genius," she said without irony. The second time that week, I saw moisture in the eyes of a loved one looking at Blumenthal's, and my greatest triumph, I really thought I'd got away with it. Then Kirsty turned, whispering as she breezed past. "Well done, Bradley, well done." Kirsty said nothing to Larry, her colleagues, or the authorities. And that evening, I was saved. The end. And yeah, hope you enjoyed that little tale of art forgery, which almost feels a bit like a short film idea, although admittedly probably quite an expensive one. Anyway, if you liked it, please share, possibly subscribe to the channel, and I will be back within a week or 10 days with another story. So thanks for listening. Bye.